You will listen to an interview with Mr. Sargent and a customer care officer of a vacuum cleaning company. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hello.
Yes, hello. It's Tom Burlinson calling from Clean It Vacuum Cleaners. Mr. Sargent, is it?
Yes?
I understand you recently purchased a vacuum from us. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Well, this is simply a call to find out if you've been happy with your purchase. Our company prides itself on its after-sales service. Just because you bought from us doesn't mean you're no longer important to us. Could you spare a few moments to answer some questions?
Sure. How long will this take?
Well, not long at all, Mr. Sargent. Usually only about 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay. What would you like to know?
Okay, great. I'll just go through the survey form and if you'll just bear with me, this shouldn't take long at all. Okay, first question. Which model did you purchase and when?
Yes, it was the super cleaner. We bought it about 2 weeks ago. Let's see, it was a Monday, I think, because my wife's birthday was on the Sunday, 24th. That would make it the 25th. Yes, August the 25th.
Okay. Now, do you remember the name of the salesperson? Was he worth remembering?
Yes, his name was Jim. My wife and I were very impressed with him. He was a great source of information, very helpful.
Great. I'll make sure that your kind words about Jim are passed on to him. Okay, now let's see. Yes. Have you purchased any other products from us this year?
Oh, let's see. Of course, we bought the super cleaner. I think that's all. Well, we bought some vacuum bags with it as well. I think Daisy bought some carpet cleaner from your store back in February. That's about all, I think. I have to ask my wife about that one. She's not here at the moment.
No, that's okay. Your answer will do fine. We don't have to be too picky. Okay, so how much money would you say you've spent, all told, in the store? Just an approximate amount will do fine.
Wow, that's a difficult question. I don't really know. The vacuum was £150. The other stuff, I'd say around £15, I suppose. The total was around £165. But I couldn't be totally sure. It may be a bit more than that.
That's fine. That's fine. Now, the next thing on my list is how would you rate the quality of the products you purchased?
Good, actually. Very good. So far, we've not had any problems with the products from Clean It. Service and value have been very good. So I guess you have a loyal customer.
Oh, wonderful. I'm really pleased that your experience with our company has been a positive one. Tell me, do you purchase any other items of cleaning equipment? If so, from whom?
I'm very fussy about the interior of my car, you know. The seats and carpets, I found a product from Easy Clean which works well on the carpets and an air freshener from Mr. Tidy that really smells good. Apart from that, I couldn't say for sure. I think my wife buys floor cleaner from Johnson Brothers.
Before you listen to the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10. Well, we've just introduced a new line of car fresheners. You might like to stop by. We'll offer you a 20% discount. Okay, we're almost to the end of the questions. Now, I know you were happy with Jim, but overall, how would you rate the quality of our service?
Fine. I thought it was good. The lady in accounts was a little unfriendly, but overall I would say the service was quite good, actually. Jim made all the difference, and you certainly seem to be a very nice person.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Sargent.
Please, Tom, call me Terry.
Oh, okay, Terry. Very good. Second last question. We're thinking of expanding our trading hours. When are the best times, the most convenient for you to shop?
Oh, I'm not a shopper. I mostly leave it all up to my wife. She works full-time. Let's see. For me, I guess I'd have to say Sundays between 1 and 3, and I'm not working on Thursdays now, so if I had to, I guess Thursdays between, say, 11 and 12 noon.
Okay. Last question, Mr. Sargent. Terry, do you have any other suggestions for us? Anything at all?
Well, come to think of it now, there was one thing. Turn up the air conditioner. I seem to remember sweltering in there, and it was unpleasant and hot. Also, and this is just me, I always like to have some music playing, quietly in the background. It just makes the place seem friendlier, more professional.
Well, I'll certainly mention that to management. Well, that's it. Thanks so much for your time, Terry. If there is anything we can do in the future to help you, don't hesitate to call us.
Okay, bye now.
Yes, bye-bye, and thanks again.
That is the end of Section 1. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers.
Exam Listening, Section 2. You will hear part of an introductory talk to a health club. Listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to Rose's Health Club, which is part of the nationwide Rose Group of Health and Fitness Centres. Today, I hope to tell you everything about the Glenfield Centre and the facilities it offers. First, have a look at the map of the centre I have put up here. There's a copy of it in your information packs. As you can see, we have a range of facilities. We are here, at the meeting point, next to the reception desk. If you get lost, which is unlikely, make your way here. The main feature of the health club is, of course, the swimming pool. This is a 25-metre pool divided into 3 or 4 lanes. Access to the pool is normally through the changing rooms for obvious reasons. To get to these, bear left as you come through reception, and as you follow the corridor, they are the 2 doors immediately to your right. First the female changing room, then the men's. If you follow the corridor right to the back of the building, you'll find one of our most popular features, 3 state-of-the-art squash courts. We keep them in very good condition, so if you're keen on that sport, I'm sure you'll appreciate the quality. Right then, I'm sure what many of you are thinking of joining for is access to the gym facilities and activities like yoga. We've got lots of space for this, and these are all situated on the left-hand side of the main corridor, opposite the changing rooms and squash courts. At the far end, you'll find the fixed and free weights room. There are lots of fixed weights machines, and you'll also find exercise bikes and rowing machines. Next to that, directly opposite the changing rooms, there's access to our sports hall. This is where yoga classes, martial arts, circuit training, and other classes take place. We even have badminton and table tennis sometimes. OK. Moving on from the sports, there are 2 other things to point out. One is a small door next to reception to the left as you come in. This takes you into the staff training room. This is important because you'll know where to find us in an emergency, and it doubles as a first aid room in those circumstances. Finally, last but not least, there is another corridor to the right as you come in, and that leads you to the cafe lounge on one side and the viewing area for the swimming pool on the other.
Exam Listening. Now answer questions 16 to 20.
Now, we will go for a little tour in a moment, but first I'd like to tell you a little about the different kinds of club membership we have, so that you can be thinking about what you want as we go round. We first of all have the Anytime membership. Anytime is the complete go-as-you-please membership. This entitles you to full use of all the facilities during all opening hours, and we're open every day from 5 a.m. till midnight. This costs £850 per year, though there are some discounts which I will tell you about in a moment. Don't forget that the Rose Group is a nationwide group, and this membership also entitles you to the full use of the group's other 250 clubs around the country. The free time membership is an off-peak membership. This entitles you to use of the facilities between 10 a.m. in the morning and 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Also, you can use the facilities at any time at weekends. This costs £500. Note that you will still have access to a personal trainer under this membership scheme. Finally, a standard membership costs £400 and is a weekday membership really, especially suitable for retired people who can come during the week. There is also a children's membership scheme. Children can join this scheme if they are between 15 and 18 years old. Please note that children of less than 15 can't come to the club without an adult, and they can't take sessions on the sunbed. Not that young people usually want to use a sunbed anyway. The children's schemes are all half price, that is 50% for each child or young person in the scheme. People who live outside the area can have a discount of up to 50%, but this has to be arranged specially with the general manager. If that is of interest to any of you, let me know and I will fix up an appointment for you. Now, let's go on our tour.
Now turn to Section 3. Section 3. You'll hear 3 students discussing an assignment they are doing together. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Hi, Alice. Wow. I'm about 15 minutes late. Sorry about that. The bus got stuck in a lot of traffic. You want to go over the presentation we have to do now, or get something to eat?
No problem. There's always traffic at this time. Juan and I were thinking we could eat afterwards, so we could relax and enjoy our meal.
Sounds good. So let's go over what we have to do again.
Okay, well, since it's a long presentation, we'll work together on the different parts of it.
What did we decide to call it again?
I think it was Eastern European economies move towards democracy and capitalism.
The professor said the presentation had to be how long?
He said about 35 minutes. That is how long the 3 of us are supposed to present. Then there will be a 10-minute question and answer session. Any student or the professor may ask us a question regarding the topic. Our grade also depends on how well we do in that part.
We also have to write a summary of our presentation, right?
Yes, the summary of our presentation has to be submitted 1 week before our presentation date. It must be 500 words.
How are we going to do the presentation?
I thought we could give the class a basic handout, like an outline of our presentation. We could even create a poster with a map of the area we were talking about.
Well, I was thinking we could make a slideshow using computer software and then using a projector during our presentation. People pay more attention to images on a screen.
Well, actually, I've never really used that kind of software. I always thought a basic handout or poster was sufficient.
I think giving the information we have with visuals like that will really make our presentation stand out.
Well, it would have to be done really well to make any sort of impact, and I'm not sure if that would be a good use of time. Maybe it would be better to spend that time on research and writing.
I don't think it would take away that much time.
Well, all of us have to research the assignment well and write a really good presentation. I think making a fancy visual presentation wouldn't help. Actually, I think such slideshows are distracting. People focus more on the images on the screen than what the presenters are saying.
I'm still not sure I agree with you.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
All right then, let's go through some of the reading material. What was the main text we had?
It's called The Political Economy of the Former Soviet Bloc by Fovac.
That's spelled F-O-V-A-C?
Yes, that deals with the specific area of Europe we are researching. There is also An Economy in Transition by Smith. That one is published by the University Press.
Well, the professor suggested another useful book, one that focuses on the leadership of those countries. Sometimes the personalities of those in power affected historical events. It's called Foisted into Power by Brown, published by the Academic Press in 2005.
Well, we still have to plan out a few more things, but I am quite hungry now. Shall we get a snack before we proceed?
Definitely. I'm getting a sandwich.
I need some rice with lentil curry, that's for sure.
Let's go to the all-campus dining center then.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turn to section 4. You will hear a man talking about tourism and the environment. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Listen carefully to the talk and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone. Let's make a start. Now, over the last few weeks, we've looked at some key areas in the travel and tourism module. We've already charted the origins and development of tourism, and we've also looked at the negative effects of tourism on both local communities and the environment. So, in this lecture, we're going to focus on ways in which tourists can actually benefit local people and natural areas if they travel responsibly. And this kind of travel is known as ecotourism. Now, there's no one definition of ecotourism. In fact, it can be interpreted in a number of different ways. This means it represents different things to different people. And sometimes people misunderstand ecotourism altogether. They think of it as just spending time in nature or natural areas. However, the truth is far more complex. In essence, it aims to minimize the negative impacts of tourism that we looked at earlier on in the course. Problems such as litter and water pollution, crime and so on, and, at the same time, to encourage travellers to have a positive impact on the places they visit. Now, there are many other words to describe a similar idea to ecotourism. In fact, the terms alternative tourism, sustainable tourism, or responsible tourism are often used to mean the same thing. But in fact, although the main ideas behind them are similar, there are small differences. And let's briefly look at these now. Alternative tourism is any kind of tourism that is not mass tourism. And by mass tourism, we mean hundreds, if not thousands, of people going on, for example, their 2 weeks a year beach holidays or traditional sightseeing tours. Alternative tourism includes travel such as backpacking and adventure holidays. And the term alternative also includes ecotourism, which is what we are mainly focusing on today. Now, what about sustainable tourism? Sustainable tourism has the same ideals as ecotourism, but it isn't limited to natural areas. So, you can have a sustainable tourist experience in a city or a town. And then we have responsible tourism. What does that mean exactly? Now, basically, this involves acting responsibly and respectfully as a guest when we travel overseas. And what do we mean by respectful? Well, being respectful might involve asking permission to take photographs, or go into someone's home observing some of the customs of the local community, such as dress or making an effort to learn the language. Now, ecotourism can be passive or active. So, what do we mean by passive tourism? Well, let's think of some specific examples. A passive tourist might buy their holiday package from a company that donate part of their profits to local charities. Or a passive tourist might book environmentally friendly accommodation. This means choosing to stay in a hotel which may use solar power as a source of energy, or changes sheets and towels for their guests less frequently. Now, active ecotourism's a way for people to enjoy everything that nature has to offer, and at the same time enable them to leave a positive mark on the environment. Now, this kind of ecotourist is sometimes referred to as a voluntourist. That's a combination of volunteer and tourist. You get the idea. Now, voluntourists prefer to experience a new place in an active way. And this doesn't mean sitting in a tourist bus or listening to a pre-recorded guide. Basically, they want to physically connect with the place they're visiting. And this includes connecting with humans and animals. Now, their approach to travel can make a real difference and can really benefit the places and the communities they choose to visit. Voluntourists often help local people construct and repair buildings, or it could mean being willing to help a community with nature conservation. So let's think of some specific examples of this kind of work in action. Now, voluntourists have helped local communities to plant hundreds of trees and installed identifying signs in the rainforests of Costa Rica. They've also helped with sustainable food production in Cuba, and in Jamaica, they've been involved in the cleaning up of local rivers. And in Thailand, they've worked on building ecologically sustainable reforested habitats. Now, some of the work that voluntourists do also involves looking after endangered animals, like the Giant Panda Project in Japan, or the Animal Sanctuary Project in Ecuador. Now, this work doesn't just involve interacting with wildlife, but involves educating local people about the need to protect wildlife. Now, before we explore wildlife tourism in more detail, does anyone have any questions?
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.